From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a PrimeWave Media production.
What's up, world? We are back with Hoops 101, and it is your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper. And boy, oh boy, I'm loving this show. I'm loving putting this show together. This is our 4th episode, and I'm going to go ahead and get into the Big 12, which is probably the best conference in the nation right now. They have the 2nd, 4th, and 6th ranked teams in the nation, and I'm going to go ahead and break all 3 of them down for you right now. Up first is Baylor, the number 2 team in the nation right now, and they are absolutely killing it. To me, they are the best team in the nation, and they should be your choice to go ahead and get that national championship as well, too. So, you know me, I'm a betting man, so I would say you need to bet that Baylor future because it looks really strong. I haven't seen a team play like this in some time now, and they got this. They're physical, and they're also very smart. They got high IQ as well too, and they are just fun to watch. When I look at the numbers, you have a team that's winning their games by 28.2 points per game. That's the difference in their games. And then also they are killing it in the 3-point department as well too. 3-point percentage, they're 43.6% on the season, and Maclo Teague is the leading scorer, averaging 16 points per game. But they have 4 guys in double figures that are in the scoring department, and also they're getting a great effort from the UNLV transfer Chacha Chua, and he's going ahead and getting them 7.6 rebounds per game. So this team right now is 10-0. I know that they are playing today, but I'm recording the show right now. But as of now, that's the best team in the nation, and it's really hard for me to look at any other team and say that they're better than Baylor. So you all guys already know what it is, and we don't really go that far. We're going to still stay in the state of Texas, and here we are, the Texas Longhorns. Shaka Smart finally getting the best out of this group, and I think that what it comes down to is going to be this. It's going to be a team that's really looking forward to March. This team is ready to prove themselves. Shaka Smart's ready to get back to that level where he was at when he was at Virginia Commonwealth, VCU, and pretty much get back to the Final Four. You know, that's why he was hired. That's why they paid him the big dollars and everything like that, so then he could have a bigger recruiting pool and be able to get Texas multiple visits to that portion of the March Madness, being the Final Four. And he set the team up with some pretty good All-Americans and everything over the years, but you know, they just didn't mesh well. But he's been able to have guys stick around, not run to the NBA too much. He lost a few guys to the NBA, but his core guys are still there, and they are making a big difference for him this year as well too. You have the duo of Matt Coleman. Well, actually, you got Matt Coleman, and you have many others as well, too, that are doing their thing right now. And Matt Coleman is leading the score, and he's their senior leader as well, too. I see this team as a Final Four prospect as well, and I think that this team does loom the danger right now of winning the Big 12 if it's not Baylor or Kansas. And let's also remember, this team went to the Rock Chalk Jayhawks house and beat them down by 25 points. Nobody really saw it coming, but the Longhorns were ready, and they're going to be ready each game out. So this team has Final Four written all over it. It's a possibility this team gets there because they've beaten some really good teams, and the only loss that they have on the year is Villanova. All right, so you already know Kansas is always going to be the landlord of the you always know Kansas is going to be the landlord of the Big 12. They've got consecutive championships, consecutive first seeds, all that good stuff. But now is a new day in the Big 12. Yeah, two teams that are actually ahead of Kansas this season, but Kansas is still 9-2. Billy Self is still seen as the best coach in the conference as well too, and they are still seen as the best roster in the conference as well too. Maybe not the best team, but they do have the best roster. They do have their All-Americans, and they do have guys that are some savvy vets as well too that decided to stick around and try to get a national championship here in Lawrence. So when you look at the Jayhawks, you say to yourself, well, are they a shoo-in to win the Big 12? Of course not. Not this season. So they really got to fight and keep clawing away. And they got a big matchup coming up very soon against Baylor as well, too, that they're going to have to really dig down deep and get themselves a good win. Because last time they played Baylor, Baylor had their way with them in Lawrence as well, too. So the fear factor of Lawrence is out of the way now, and a lot of teams are stepping up to the plate. The top-tier teams now in the conference, and they're giving Kansas a run for their money. So Kansas' dominance of the Big 12 is running very thin at this point. But at the end of the day, you can't overlook the big dog, the blue blood, the Kansas Jayhawks. So with that, we'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. This is Hoops 101 with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
Welcome back to Hoops 101 with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And let's go ahead and jump into the Baby Bulls. The Baby Bulls looking pretty good. They've won their last 4 out of 7 games, and they've actually done pretty good on their West Coast trip right now as well, too, when they went ahead and won the first 2 games of that trip, beating Dallas and Portland as well. And as you guys can see, we got the highlights up here for those games, so you guys can know that the Bulls are out here killing it, and they did go ahead and cover in their next 2 games as well too. So this team has been very good on the West Coast, as you can see, and the Baby Bulls getting it together. It looked like things were going to be a little bleak, but then they were able to go to Washington and win back-to-back games in Washington after also dropping their first 3 games of the season, and those first 3 games were really, really ugly, but after that, pretty much they had the Golden State game lost by 1 and were able to go ahead and win their next 2 games against Washington, as I said prior. And then they dropped the game to Milwaukee, and since then they've been a very tough team, especially last night against the Lakers, where they gave the Lakers absolute fits. They were up by 10 points at one point in the game as well too, and wound up losing the game late by 2 points. But still, this team is showing some improvement this year up under Billy Donovan, and I think that this team is going to figure out a way to stick around a little bit. They may not make the playoffs this year, but they're going to still be a really damn good team, and I really, truly do think that a lot of people have to start taking them a little bit more seriously. And I'm very surprised by the rookie as well, too. 4th pick in the draft, Pat Williams, is playing out of his mind as well, too. To start the season, he's playing much better than I thought he would, and I thought that he was probably going to be a guy down in the G League, but he's much better than that. And Kobe White is leading the way, and Zach LaVine is just doing his thing as usual, and I think Zach LaVine will be a big piece on the trading market this season as well, too, because the Bulls can get some assets for him right now as well. The Baby Bulls looking good. I don't know if we should say they're going to be getting into the championship yet, but they are looking good. They're looking much better than last season, but it's still early as well, too, and guys are still healthy, and we'll have to see how the marathon goes with the Baby Bulls. All right, so we move on, and we have ourselves the Suns. The Suns have been gelling very well under Monty Williams, even though they did lose last night by 5 points to the Pistons. Still, This is a really good team. They're 6-3 on the year as well, and they are just going through the motions. They're just trying to figure out who they really are. They're trying to keep pace with the Lakers as well too, and they're doing a damn good job of it. And I feel like Chris Paul has this team right where he wants them at, and the maturation point to where he doesn't really have to sit there babysitting these young boys. They already know what to do, and they are more than capable of winning a game any night against any team in the NBA. But I think the most important factor to this team is having a good head coach like Monty Williams. Monty Williams was a really good head coach when he was coaching down in New Orleans. Had Chris Paul as a rookie, had Tyson Chandler in his younger days as well. Also had David West as an all-star. So this team, so he knows how to coach it up, get guys to the highest level in the NBA as well too. But all it takes at the end of the day is just finding a few good vets, and Phoenix should be right there, maybe giving the Lakers some issues, some troubles. But we'll see how it goes. But Phoenix is looking really good, gelling very well. Monty Williams, CP3 reunited. I know that's one of the big factors in CP3 going to Phoenix as well too. Great weather, great franchise, great city, and you got a coach that you're very comfortable with as well too. And it looks like everything's working out pretty well for Phoenix at this moment. So we move on to our next subject, and that's going to be the 76ers and their new attitude up under Doc Rivers. They're playing really good basketball at this point. I think that the 76ers are a team to be reckoned with in the East as well, too. Joel Embiid, they might not be talking MVP talk yet for Joel Embiid, but as he stays healthy during the season and he continues to get the 2010s night in, night out, and, you know, just be just a nuisance to stop as well, too, he should start being considered for maybe the most valuable player award moving forward this season. And then you still have Ben Simmons as well at point guard, and I know that this gets Doc excited because now he has a whole lot of size to run with, and hopefully he can get this team to the next level, which he couldn't do with the Clippers. But I think that train had pretty much screeched to a halt pretty much for Doc Rivers, and I think the fresh start for Doc and the fresh start for the Philadelphia 76ers is doing everybody sweet justice as well. And then you have a coach that's been in the trenches before as well too. I know I'm really hard on Doc Rivers, but I know Doc Rivers has been to the finals several times, and I know Doc Rivers has been in some of the most crucial clutch games ever in NBA history as well too, or really over the last decade or so. And it seems like everywhere he goes, he is able to put the magic touch on teams. And moving forward, Doc Rivers is going to still be as one of the most significant coaches in the league, leading one of the more significant franchises in the league as well too. So the 76ers looking real good to start the season, and defense, that will be the difference for the 76ers team if they're trying to get to that championship round this year. So with that, we'll be right back. This is Hoops 101 with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper. All right, we're back with Hoops 101, and boy, oh boy, I'm telling you, what a game last night it was in Boston. It seemed like Boston was going to run away with this thing, but Washington wasn't having any of that at all. They were able to work their way back into the game where they were down by 24 or 25 points at one point, and they were able to work it all the way back down to 4 points at a point in time in the fourth quarter as well, too. And it looked like the Celtics would have to go ahead and put in some extra time here, but the Celtics were able to finish strong in this spot. They were able to get 32 points last night from Tatum and 27 from Jaylen Brown last night, so it worked out very well. The tandem goes ahead and combines for 59 points, and these guys have been getting almost over 50 points combined nightly, like all season. Marcus Smart was fairly helpful last night as well, too, chipping in with 13 points. And also they got 11 points off the bench from Pritchard last night as well, too. Now, the Wizards were able to get a great effort from Bradley Beal last night, who was able to drop 41 points. Bradley Beal has just been killing it. And then Russell Westbrook only was a little quiet last night, had some quad issues, scored 12 points last night, 4-16 shooting as well, too. So pretty much they had to get some love from the bench, and that was going to be from Bertans. And Bertans was able to score 13 off the bench. And also Ian Smith got 8 points off the bench as well, too. But it just wasn't enough at the end with the Celtics going ahead and cruising to a 116-107 victory. But they really did have to go ahead and grit it out a little bit to go ahead and finish up that game the right way. So the Celtics looking good to start the season as well, too, at 7-3. And there it is. Pretty much, once again, the Celtics win the game by 9 points, 116-107 over the Wizards. All right, so we move on to our next game, which is going to be which was a really, really, really good game last night. And it wound up turning out to be a one-sided affair as well, too. The matchup looked very good on paper. Magic had came into Houston the last few years and were able to get good wins over the Rockets. And, this is a brand new Rockets team. They don't look as tough as they've looked over the past few years. But last night, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. This team was absolutely incredible. They were able to drop 132 points last night, and they just really gelled well together as a team last night and took advantage of the Magic, a team they know that if they would have messed around, they would have got themselves in a lot of trouble. So winds up, they win the game by 42 points. They also had dropped 62 in the first half as well, too, but only gave up 33 points. So the defense was there, and they scored 30 points in each quarter last night as well, too. Actually were able to drop 70 in the second half. So this team it was a beautiful, beautiful night for them. Christian Wood is really playing lights out right now, too. He was able to get 22 points last night, 15 rebounds. James Harden handed out 13 assists last night as well, too. The Magic were able to get a good effort from Vujic, who was able to score 22 points. And then Cole Anthony got 15 points as well, too, last night. So this team, the Magic, they've been really good all season, but they were just really, really out of wits in this game. And it just wasn't their night, and pretty much Christian Wood carried the load, and they got a good effort from Ben McLemore off the bench scoring 15, and Harden was able to score 15 last night with those 13 assists, and he grabbed 5 rebounds as well, too. So Houston goes ahead and blows the doors off of the Orlando Magic last night, 132-90. All right, so this was pretty much the game of the night, in my opinion, and this is going to be the Jazz and the Bucks. And the Jazz came into the game struggling a little bit. Had lost back-to-back games in New York, losing by 38 to the Nets, and then losing by 12 to the Knicks back-to-back nights. So it looked like they were in a little bit of trouble going here playing against the Bucks. Not so fast. Donovan Spider Mitchell goes ahead and drops 32 points last night. Bogdanovich went ahead and chipped in 20 himself, and O'Neal was able to throw in 18. Mike Conley had 17 points, and Jordan Clarkson was the difference last night, scoring 26 points off the bench. So they were able to get 5 players in double figures in scoring last night, which was the difference in this game. Giannis had a hell of a game last night, 35 points. Chris Middleton dropped 31, but after that, pretty much the starting 5 carried the whole load because the bench went ahead and only scored 16 points. 16 points compared to the 102 that the starters scored last night, and every starter scored in double figures as well too. And Drew Holiday finished up the game with 17 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds last night. And it just was a team that was a little out of wits last night, and the Jazz took advantage of that, and they were able to win this game in fine fashion and cruise and get themselves a much-needed win. This team improves to 5-4. The Bucks dropped to 5-4, and this was pretty much my game of the night last night. And man, I'm telling you, It is what it is. The Bucks struggling, and the Jazz trying to figure out exactly who they are. So with that, we're going to be right back. This is Hoops 101 with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and you stay tuned.
I would go for something like that. I think we need to send as much support to as possible. I think they should change NBA logo to Kobe Bryant. But it's really heartbreaking, and all the families affected. I just can't imagine what that's like to go.
All right, we are here in the fourth quarter of Hoops 101, and boy, I'm telling you, man, this is going to be a fun game tonight. This one is East meets West. This is going to be two teams with very good records as well, too. You have the Phoenix Suns coming into the game 6-3, and then you also have the Pacers coming into the game 6-2. So you have yourself a very good matchup here tonight between two teams, you know, trying to really find themselves, but they have a lot of talent here as well, too, on both sides. A lot of young talent as well. And so when you look at the Pacers, the home team here, they have a really balanced team here. So they are one of the better teams when it comes to points scored in the league. They're scoring 115 a night. That's good for 6. And when it comes to field goal percentage as well, too, this team is at 49% nightly. And that works out very well for this team. And they're actually also pretty good in the turnover department as well, too. Only giving up about 13 turnovers a game. Assist to turnover ratio, they're second in that, 2-1 in that category. So this team is doing what they can, and it's crazy. Malcolm Brogdon is actually their leading scorer, averaging 23.6 per game. And then you got Sabonis, who's getting his 20.8, and then you got Oladipo getting 20.4. So they have 3 20-point scorers on their team as well, and they have seven guys scoring in double figures as well, too, for this team. So they are looking really good, but they are really only rolling about 8 deep here. Everybody else is pretty much is just out there pretty much a practice player. But once you get past McConnell, you don't really have much. But they have a young Cassius Stanley who they're molding into being one of their better players for the future. But I really do think that Indiana, with some more patience and more and with a big move probably made mid-season, could be a team that could loom a danger. It could be a surprise team in the East as well, too. They got 3 guys that are combining for at least 60 points a game for this team. So that's something that a lot of teams don't have in the NBA as well, too. So watch out for the Pacers. And then you got the Suns. We talked about them earlier in the show. But the Suns, once again, they're over here doing their thing as well. Devin Booker averaging 21.7 a game. And then you got Aiden right behind him averaging 13.4. And he's pulling down 11.4 rebounds a game as well, too. So the guy is averaging a double-double nightly. And this is huge for this team because this duo is everything to this team's future and to this team's present right now as well, too. So pretty much this is what it is, in my opinion. I feel like the Suns do have the advantage. They're a little bit more lengthier. And then you have the Chris Paul effect as well, too. So this winds up to me being the game of the night on Saturday night in the NBA. You got to love NBA Saturday nights. Always unpredictable, always fun. We don't have fans right now, but it's always a good fan night as well, too. Most teams get sellouts on Saturday nights. All right, so let's go ahead and get into another subject. And, you know, I always bring up players and everything like that. So pretty much I kind of had to go ahead and grind my gears a little bit about Kyrie Irving's latest antics and everything like that with the Nets. I know that he might be going through some things, and I heard that he does have some, you know, there's some things going on in his head and everything like that. And pretty much, you know, he just kind of just clocks out and kind of just gets distant and does what he wants to do. And I think that this is really not good for the Nets moving forward. And I think that this is a guy that's going to really be the reason why this team could have possibly implode at some point this season as well, too. I think that KD is the leader of this team, and he knows how to lead a team to a championship. And Kyrie would say that he knows the same thing too, but come on, he wrote the coattails of LeBron. Let's all keep it real. He did hit the big shot, though, to push Cleveland forward to get them the championship in that great team effort. But at the end of the day, what has he done without LeBron being his teammate? Now he has KD as a teammate, and pretty much they're playing really great basketball, but Kyrie just doesn't respect his teammates enough, in my opinion. These guys are some really good players. As I said on my show the other day when the Nets did beat the 76ers, that you can't sleep on guys like LeVert and Jared Allen. These guys can play as well, too. Spencer DeWitty, before he went out for the season, was damn good as well, too. So pretty much, Kyrie, you got to get it together, man. You got to look out for your teammates, dude, and be on the same page as your teammates. Don't be that guy not showing up to the game. You're having your own little issues. Well, if you are having issues, please let us know. Because you know what? People are worried about the safety view as well, too. So I know it seems like I'm picking on him and everything like that, because I am. And I think that he's much better than that. He's one of the role models of the NBA, and he has to stay face a little bit. At some point, it has to be about the league and his team and not just about Kyrie. All right, so that's it. That's my 2 cents on Kyrie. And I want to go ahead and also send condolences out to the Westphal family as well, too. Paul Westphal, one of the greatest USC Trojan basketball players to ever step on the court, passed away last week. And it was devastating for the basketball community. He also was the head coach of the 92-93 Phoenix Suns, who went to the NBA Finals with Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley's MVP season as well, too. Paul Westphal was seen as Charles Barkley's favorite coach as well, too, and he was always well respected by his players because they saw him as a player's coach. So once again, R.I.P. to the great Paul Westphal, a.k.a. Westy. And I have a lot of memories with Westy when he used to be an analyst for the Laker games at pre- and post games when the Lakers used to be on Fox and everything like that. So pretty much R.I.P. once again to a legend, okay? So there it is. This is the Hoop Show, the Hoops 101, with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and I'm signing off until next week. So you guys make sure to hit that subscribe button, and make sure you guys check out the new website, PrimeWaveMedia.net. All right, once again, that's PrimeWaveMedia.net. You guys can become an exclusive client and check out all my content as well there, too. But make sure you subscribe to the page. Go ahead and check out PrimeWaveMedia.net as well, too. So thank you guys very much, and I am gone.